Good morning.
Coach, good morning. Thanks for joining us. First question will come from Greg Barnes.
Good morning, Phil. Mac mentioned that Ty's Chandler's finally gotten comfortable and with the offense and has chemistry with the offensive line. Was there a point where it kind of clicked in for him, or has this been kind of a natural progression for him getting used to everything?
So when he got here in the spring, we felt like he was the talent that we thought he was, and he took the spring to learn the offense, and it's a little bit different. So you got to kind of get in a rhythm. But he's gotten better just about every week, and he's really dangerous when he beats the line of scrimmage. So I think when we do a good job physically of controlling the line of scrimmage, you really get an opportunity to see, his true talent is when he's heading downhill and he's across the line of scrimmage. Whereas, like Michael Carter, for instance, could do a lot of things. He could erase mistakes and do a lot of things and get himself out of trouble and earn yards that we didn't block for and that kind of thing in our backfield. And I think as we secure the line of scrimmage and Ty beats it, he's special and he's hard to tackle and he's a downhill kid and he has tremendous speed, as you saw on Saturday. And so I hope these last three regular season games you see the same out of Ty.
Thank you.
Michael Coe, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. So Antoine Green had probably his best game of the year Saturday against Wake. 6 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Do you see him? How much of a boost is that to the offense when a guy like Antoine can be the number one receiver when someone like Josh doesn't have as big a game as usual?
Well, it helps us tremendously. And as a matter of fact, when I just went on my walk with Coach earlier today, we were talking about Antoine most of the walk, and it was about his emergence, and we've been waiting for it. And Coach Sabatini and Coach Galloway have been working with him for, the 2 years that we've been here, and he has really done a tremendous job of developing himself in the offseason. And now I think he's in rhythm with where we are. I think he's doing a good job getting off press. I think he's doing a good job separating from people. And he's a legitimate weapon, and we're elated now that he is where he is. He gives us another weapon in the offense, and much like Ty, I'm excited. I wish we had more than 3 left, and then hopefully we create a bowl situation and we get to see him for a 4th game. And I'm looking forward to it. I think he's only going to get better on this home stretch that we have.
Thank you.
Luciano, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well, and thanks for your time this morning. Pittsburgh is one of the teams with the most sacks so far, an area in which you have been struggling quite a lot. How do you feel you have progressed in that regard throughout the season, and how can you prevent it from being a major factor in this game?
So I think we're going to continue to do what we've done, and that's pick our spots about when we want to hold the football. Right? You got to be strategic about it. We're going to keep calling the quick hit stuff and getting the ball out of Sam's hand. And I always think, Luciano, it helps you, when you establish the run game early in the ball game. You control the line of scrimmage, and it helps you throw the football through play action and off RPOs, and you don't have to strictly rely on throwing the football, off the straight drop back action. And when you can do that, you minimize the number of times that Sam has to sit back there and hold the football. And then the other thing is, we're doing a great job right now. We're top 10 in the country in avoiding third downs. I've always said, right now I think we're top 10 in third down conversions, but my more favorite stat is staying out of third down. And that means we're more productive on first and second down. We're getting ourselves in the manageable type situations if we get in the third down, so the percentages of converting are higher. And we're staying out of those 3rd and 8+, 3rd and 12+ situations where people can pin their ears back and just tee off. And I think as we minimize those, we'll minimize more of our sacks. And that aspect of our game has definitely gotten better as the season's gone on. And, the TFLs and the negative plays and the sacks, as they decrease, I think our point output's going to go up. And so that's kind of what's been going on here the last 2 weeks. And, I would expect that to continue.
Over to Dina King, please.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned earlier with Antoine, Josh didn't have one of his great games. How satisfied was you with the other guys stepping up? Justin Olson had a big catch. Ty had a big catch. Kamari had several catches as well. How did you like their performances?
So, yeah, that's where we want to be. You know, in the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the one thing that's not happening, you know, air raid philosophy is to distribute the ball to everybody. You know, and just offensively, you want to distribute, you want to have all 5 skill guys as weapons in your offense so that the defense has to defend all 5 guys. You know, and as we rolled through these last 2 seasons, we know all these names that were so common for a while, the De'Ami Browns and Michael Carters and Daz Newsome and Javonte Williams, because we kind of rolled through taking turns having them have big games. You know, we had rushers of 1 and 2 and 300-yard games. We had receivers with 200-yard games. We had Sam putting 400 and 500 up throwing the football, and we had 400 and 500-yard rushing days. It just was distribution throughout all our skill players. And being able to effectively attack a defense, either running it or throwing it. And so when you're balanced like that from a personnel standpoint and from a pass run standpoint, I think it makes us the more difficult to defend, and that's the world that we want to live in. So the emergence of Justin Olson and Antoine Green and you know, in conjunction with Josh Downs, and now Ty Chandler is heating it up in the backfield, and Sam is a running weapon. You know, I'm able to talk about 4, 5, 6 people now as weapons in the offense, and we weren't in that rhythm, and we weren't ready to be that team earlier in the season, and we are now. And so the trick for us is to keep some consistency and perform the same way at Pittsburgh and as we go forward here.
Andrew Jones, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, staying on that, Sam's able to distribute the ball, not just to different guys, but just throwing a little bit more vertically. I know that the completed passes 20 yards down the field or more have picked up the last couple of games. How much of this is a result of something that you did during the bye week to tweak? And what else is playing into the fact that there are more options for Sam and he's finding a greater variety of guys now?
One of them is just the skill guys. The cast around them is getting better. We improve. You know, I say this all the time, and it's not to promote our staff, but we do have a good staff here, and we have tremendous leadership, obviously. And when you run a program that way, the program gets better every week, and things improve every week. And our guys on offense right now, I think, have done a terrific job of sticking to the plan, you know, even when there was some adversity. And we got better at what we want to do offensively, and it really promotes the strengths that we have with our skilled kids. And, you know, and we're playing good football right now. We're playing in a rhythm. So that helps, you know. And then, I also think we are predicated on taking what the defense is going to give us. And so last year we threw for 550 yards against Wake Forest because that's what they gave us. This year we ran the ball for 330 yards because that's what they gave us defensively. That's how the offense is designed. So it's hard for me to say, hey, look, we're going to run the ball or throw the ball this many times each week because I don't know what the defense is going to do. And it really comes down to that. That's why we want to be able to distribute the ball to players so that we can attack the entire field. And we want to be able to run and throw the ball with the same efficiency so that when somebody decides to take one away, we can continue to be prolific on the other side of it. And I have no idea what Pittsburgh will do with us. I mean, we know what they do defensively, Andrew, but you know, I don't know what they'll choose to do once we get out there on the field, and it'll be a matter of where do they give us grass, and Sam will make those decisions, and we'll decide where to distribute the football.
Max spoke a little while ago about Sam's accomplishment at 10,000 yards. He's now the all-time leader in total yards in school history. Last week became the all-time leading passer. Excuse me. Can you kind of put into perspective just what he's been able to pile up in 34 games? I know you've been around some prolific dudes before, but kind of put into perspective what Sam's been able to do, certainly at this level, and the fact that he's still got several more games to achieve even more. So
really, it's a question that I've been getting a lot in the last few weeks, and that is, you know, the perception of Sam was he's this elite passer, and he's a great deep ball passer, and he's very accurate, and you know, he's rolling up passing touchdowns and passing numbers and doing all that stuff. And then we come into this season and the cast at wide receiver is a little bit different. We got to wait for them to come along, and we have to rely on some other people, our tight ends and THI and Josh Downs and Sam's legs in the run game, which is really, Andrew, something we wanted to do the last 2 years. But as I've said, the depth in the quarterback room has really affected that. This year, it has not. We're very confident in the guys that we have in that room. We think we're probably more talented now than we've ever been, and that allows us to utilize Sam to his full capacity. And he is a very accomplished runner. And so, what you don't know about him, and what you don't really can appreciate, I think, when you're not on this side of it, he's run for a lot of yards. He's thrown for a lot of yards. He's made a lot of tremendous plays. And what you don't see are the 70, 80, 90 decisions that he makes a week offensively. You know, you don't see that part of it. When I come in and grade him, I grade throw accuracy and I grade play production, but one of the columns I grade out is his decision making. And that's probably the most important part of his position. And it's hard as a fan in the stands to appreciate that, because you don't realize all of the things that he's making decisions on during the course of the game, you know, in a second's notice. And he is exceptional. He is an elite quarterback in that area of the game. And that has led to him just being able to go out and show what he can do athletically, both throwing the football and running the ball. So really, that's what I'm most proud of with him, is being consistently efficient is what we talk about, and that has been Sam Howell for the last 3 years.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, our last question for Coach Longo will come from Gregory Hall.
Hey, Phil, you mentioned what the defense gives you. Pitt's obviously one of the best run defenses in the country. Just how are you preparing to face them, considering you guys are coming off one of your best rushing games of the season?
You know, I really liken it to our preparation for Miami and for Notre Dame. I mean, Miami's so athletic, so much talent at all the positions. Notre Dame is one of the more well-coached defenses we saw. So they're very different from each other, but in their own way, they had the ability to be really, really good. If they show up and play well on that day, you've got a tall task at hand. And so looking at Pitt, they have a good scheme. They've been running it for a while. There's veterans on the defense. They know the scheme. They know the weaknesses in the scheme. So you can look at them and say, look, they're giving up this, that, or the other thing. And you want to attack those things. And then, when you look at those areas of supposed weakness on their defense, and you look at the production on those plays or in those areas, they do a really good job of defending, what it looks like should be their weakness. It's like cover two. You want to make that whole shot and throttle the fade down and make that two throw in there. We all know that, but a good cover two team knows their own weakness, and they do a good job of squeezing the hole and defending it so that you can't attack it the way you really think you can, schematically on the board. And that is how Pittsburgh's defense is. Pittsburgh's defense is going to suffocate the front. And they're going to keep everything inside, and they're going to squeeze the run game. They want to bounce it all out laterally so that their speed talent can run it down on the perimeter. And they have some very accomplished corners. And in order to do what they do, they've got to be very good at corner and at safety, and they are. And so what you think might be great one-on-one individual battles are really very difficult, and they do a good job of getting guys help when you don't think they can. So we have our work cut out for us. We played them 2 years ago. They're not much different than they were 2 years ago. They're still super physical. They tackle well. They pursue well. I think they mirror the personality of their head coach, and as long as he's there, they're going to be physical, and they're going to punch in them out defensively, and they're going to make you beat them. So we've got to be physical on Thursday night, and we've got to minimize our mistakes, and we've got to take what they give us when they give it to us.
All right, Coach, thanks for a couple of minutes this morning.